Tensions are rising at Ayungin Shoal in the South China Sea. Dozens of Chinese ships, including Coast Guard and militia vessels, have surrounded the grounded Philippine warship BRP Sierra Madre. Fast boats with mounted weapons, a Navy helicopter and a drone have been spotted. Clear signs of escalation. The Philippine military sees this as intimidation, a show of force by China to assert dominance. Both countries claim the shoal, known as Ayungin to the Philippines and Reneijiao to China, pushing their dispute to the brink. Chinese ships have used water cannons to block Philippine vessels, a tactic seen before. Video shows armed Chinese boats closing in on the Sierra Madre, underscoring the volatility of the standoff. For Manila, every Chinese ship is a direct challenge to sovereignty. These maneuvers are rehearsals for possible blockades or more aggressive actions. The international community is watching with concern. The shoal may be small, but the stakes are enormous. This standoff tests the Philippines' resolve, the reach of international law, and the fragile peace in a vital waterway. The world waits to see what happens next. The South China Sea remains a flashpoint with global consequences. Despite the Chinese blockade, the Philippines pressed on with a crucial resupply mission. Filipino forces delivered food, water and fuel to the Marines on the BRP Sierra Madre. The mission also rotated troops, keeping the outpost manned and morale high. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro condemned China's actions, vowing not to back down. Footage showed small Philippine boats blocking larger Chinese vessels, a David and Goliath moment. A temporary agreement with China was meant to ease tensions, but recent Chinese maneuvers have put it to the test. The Philippines insists on its right to resupply its outpost, which lies within its exclusive economic zone. Each successful mission is a victory, reinforcing the Philippine claim and supporting the soldiers' resolve. For the troops, the resupply is a lifeline. For the nation, it's a symbol of standing up to overwhelming pressure. The world sees a small country refusing to yield. The standoff continues, but so does Filipino determination. China frames its actions at Ayungin Shoal as defensive, not aggressive. The China Coast Guard calls on the Philippines to stop infringement activities, insisting the shoal is Chinese territory. Official statements describe recent moves as control measures to enforce sovereignty. China's narrative casts the Philippines as the provocateur, while it claims to be maintaining order. Beijing rejects the 2016 International Tribunal ruling that invalidated its claims, relying instead on historical maps. The deployment of Coast Guard and militia vessels is part of a broader strategy to block Philippine repairs or upgrades to the Sierra Madre. For China, the ship's presence is a provocation. For the Philippines, it's a right. This fundamental clash keeps the dispute unresolved and volatile. Each side accuses the other of violating sovereignty. The standoff at Ayungin Shoal is a microcosm of the larger struggle for control in the South China Sea. The Ayungin Shoal standoff is drawing global attention, especially from the United States. A U.S. Navy ship patrolled nearby during the Philippine resupply, signaling support for its ally. The U.S. has reaffirmed its commitment under the Mutual Defense Treaty, raising the stakes. The South China Sea is a web of overlapping claims. Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan are also involved. Each confrontation increases the risk of a wider conflict in one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Freedom of navigation is a top concern for many nations. The Philippines cites international law and UNCLOS to back its claim. China relies on its 9-dash line. Regional powers like Japan and Australia support a rules-based order and have boosted security ties with Manila. The dispute is a test case for how small nations can stand up to superpowers. The outcome could shape future international conflicts. The world is watching to see if diplomacy or force will prevail. Ayungin Shoal is more than a local dispute, it's a global flashpoint. The next move could have far-reaching consequences. At the heart of the dispute is the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting World War II-era ship grounded on Ayungin Shoal. The Philippines ran it aground in 1999 to assert its claim, turning it into a military outpost. Today, a handful of Marines live aboard, their presence a symbol of national resolve. China sees the ship as an illegal occupation and tries to block resupply missions, fearing repairs could make the outpost permanent. Every delivery of supplies is a political act, not just a humanitarian one. The standoff is fraught with risk. Dangerous maneuvers and water cannons could spark a larger conflict. The Sierra Madre is both a last line of defense and a magnet for confrontation. Its fate is tied to the future of the region. For the Philippines, it's a stand for sovereignty. For China, it's an obstacle to control. The world hopes diplomacy can prevent this symbol from becoming a trigger for war.